I'm using a size 3.25 mm crochet hook and a medium weight yarn, and we'll start off by working a slip knot. And now I'm going to work 4 chain stitches. So let's work. This is 1, this is 2, this is 3, and this is 4. We'll insert our hook into the first chain that we just made. Grab the yarn and pull through both the loops to form a circle. So here we have formed a circle, and now I'm going to work 4 chain stitches. So let's work. This is 1, 2, 3, and 4. These 4 chain stitches will be considered as one double crochet and chain 1. And now I'm going to work a puff stitch into the center of the circle. So to work a puff stitch, we'll yarn over, insert our hook into the center of the circle like this, grab the yarn and pull up a loop. So this is the first loop that we pulled, and we are going to repeat the same step 4 more times for a total of 5 times. So let's repeat the same step for the second time. We'll yarn over, insert the hook into the center of the circle like this, grab the yarn and pull up a loop. This is the second time. We'll repeat the same step for the third time. We'll yarn over, insert the hook into the center of the circle, grab the yarn and pull up a loop. This is the third time. Let's repeat it for the fourth time. Yarn over, insert the hook into the center of the circle, grab the yarn and pull up a loop. This is the fourth time, and let's repeat it for the last and the fifth time. Yarn over, insert the hook into the same space, grab the yarn and pull up a loop. So now you have these many bunch of loops. Now at this point, we are going to hold on the first loop on our hook. So press and hold with your index finger, and we are going to yarn over and pull through all these bunch of loops except for this first loop that we are holding. So to lock the puff stitch, we are going to press and hold the first loop on our hook like this, yarn over, and we are going to pull through all these bunch of loops except for this first loop that we are holding on our hook. So this one. Now you should be left with 2 loops on your hook. So yarn over and pull through both the loops to lock the puff stitch. And this created our first puff stitch of our first round. And now we'll chain 1, and we are going to work 1 double crochet into the center of the circle. So to work a double crochet, we'll yarn over, insert the hook into the center of the circle, grab the yarn and pull up a loop. You should have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the remaining 2 loops. This has created your double crochet stitch. So this is how it looks. And this completes our round 1. Now for our next round, we are going to chain 4. So this is 1, 2, 3, and 4. Again, these 4 chain stitches at the start of every round will be considered as 1 double crochet and chain 1. And we are going to start every round by chaining 4. That would mean we'll have 1 double crochet and chain 1 at the start of every round. Now at this point, we'll turn our work, and here in this space, this is the space between the puff stitch and the 3 chains, and we have worked a chain 1 here, so this is called as chain 1 space. So here in this chain 1 space, we are going to place 1 puff stitch. So again, let's work a puff stitch into this chain 1 space. So yarn over, insert the hook into the chain 1 space here, grab the yarn and pull up a loop. This is the first loop. We are going to repeat the same 4 more times for a total of 5 times. So we have already completed our first loop. Repeating the same for the second time, yarn over, insert the hook into the same chain 1 space, grab the yarn and pull up a loop. This is the second time. Repeating the same for the third time in the same space. Repeating the same for the fourth time in the same space. And repeating the same for the fifth time in the same space. Now we are going to lock this puff stitch. To lock it, we'll press and hold the first loop on our hook. So this one, yarn over and pull through all the loops except for the first loop that you are holding. Now yarn over and pull through both the loops to lock the puff stitch. So here we have completed our first puff stitch of round 2. Now chain 1 and we are going to skip this puff stitch, and here in this next chain 1 space between the puff stitch and these chain stitches, there is a space here. So in this space we are going to place one puff stitch. So let's work. We'll yarn over, insert the hook into this space between the puff stitch and the 3 chains, grab the yarn and pull up a loop. This is the first loop. This is the first loop. We are going to repeat the same 4 more times. So repeating the same for the second time in the same space. Repeating the same for the third time in the same space. Repeating the same for the fourth time in the same space. And finally repeating the same for the fifth time in the same space. Now to lock this puff stitch, we'll press and hold the first loop on our hook, yarn over and pull through all the loops except for this first loop. Now you should have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through both the loops. Chain 1, work 1 double crochet into the same space. So I'm working 1 double crochet here in the same space. And this completes our round 2. In round 2 we have 2 puff stitches. Now for round 3 we'll chain 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. Turn your work. And we are going to repeat the same pattern as we did in round 2. We are going to work 1 puff stitch into this chain 1 space. So let's work. So this chain 1 space is between this last puff stitch and the double crochet that we made. So yarn over, insert the hook into the same space or into the chain 1 space. Grab the yarn and pull up a loop. We have done this once. Let's repeat it 4 more times. This is the second time I'm repeating the same. This is the third. This is the fourth loop. And this is the fifth loop. Press and hold the first loop on your hook. Yarn over and pull through all the loops except for this first loop on the hook. Yarn over and pull through both the loops. Now chain 1. And this time we are going to work 1 puff stitch between these 2 puff stitches. So we worked a chain 1 here. So in this chain 1 space we are going to place 1 puff stitch. So here, let's work 1 puff stitch. This is the first loop. This is the second loop. This is 3, 4 and 5. Press and hold the first loop on your hook. Yarn over, pull through all the loops except for the first loop. Yarn over and pull through both the loops. So this completed our second puff stitch of round 3. Now chain 1 And now we are going to work one puff stitch into this next chain one space. So working my first loop here in the next chain one space. This is second loop. This is 3, 4, and 5. Press and hold the first loop, grab the yarn, pull through all the loops, yarn over and pull through both the loops. Chain 1, work 1 double crochet into this same chain 1 space. So here I am working 1 double crochet in the same space, and this completes our round 3. Let's work on our round 4. So for that we'll chain 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Turn your work. Work 1 puff stitch into the first chain 1 space here. So working 1 puff stitch here. This is 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Press and hold the first loop on our hook. Grab the yarn, pull through all the loops except for the first loop, yarn over and pull through both the loops. Chain 1, and now again, just like our previous round, I'm going to work 1 puff stitch between the 2 puff stitches from our previous round. So here in this chain 1 space, I'm going to work 1 puff stitch. So placing 1 puff stitch into the chain 1 space. This is first loop, this is second, third, 4 and 5. Press and hold the first loop and lock this puff stitch. Chain 1, 1 puff stitch in this space here between the 2 puff stitches. So right here there is this one chain 1 space. So here working my first loop of the puff stitch. This is 2, 3, 4 and 5. Lock this puff stitch, chain 1 and work 1 puff stitch into this last chain 1 space. So this is the first loop. This is 2, 3, 4 and 5. Lock this puff stitch, chain 1 and work 1 double crochet in the same space. So here I have completed working on my round 4, and in round 4 I have 1, 2, 3 and 4 puff stitches. Now for the last and the 5th round I am going to chain 4. This is 1, 2, 3 and 4. We are going to repeat the same pattern. So we'll turn our work and I am going to work 1 puff stitch into this first chain 1 space. So here in the chain 1 space I'm working 1 puff stitch, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Press and hold the first loop, yarn over, pull through all the loops and lock your puff stitch, chain 1. We'll work 1 puff stitch into the next chain 1 space. So this is my first loop. This is 2, 3, 4 and 5. Lock your puff stitch, chain 1. Work 1 puff stitch into this next chain 1 space. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Lock your puff stitch, chain 1. We'll work 1 puff stitch into this next chain 1 space. is 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Lock your puff stitch, chain 1 last puff stitch into this last chain 1 space, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Lock your puff stitch, chain 1 and work 1 double crochet into the same space. Working 1 double crochet here in the same space. Now from here onwards, I'm not going to increase any more rounds, but it is entirely up to you. If you want to increase more rounds, you can definitely go ahead and repeat the same pattern till your desired length. For me, this is the perfect size. So now here I'm going to chain 1 and I'm going to cut off my yarn here. Pull it through to secure it. So now we are going to work on the border around the tree, and to work on the border I am going to use this really pretty Christmas themed yarn. I am going to mention about this yarn in the description box below, so do check it out. You can use any yarn of your choice. It's just that I have this yarn and it is more of Christmas themed, so I'm using this yarn. Otherwise you can use any yarn of your choice. So now I'm going to attach this yarn to work on the edges, and I'm going to attach this yarn in the same place where we just joined our round. So here in the same chain 1 space, I'm going to insert my hook, place this yarn behind my work, grab the yarn, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull it through to attach the yarn. And now we'll chain 1. So here we'll chain 1 and I'm going to work 1 single crochet into the same space. So here I'm working 1 single crochet in the same space, chain 1 again. We'll work 3 single crochets into the same space. So here in the same space I'm placing 3 single crochets again. So this is my first single crochet, working my second single crochet in the same space and working 1 more single crochet in the same space. So here we attached our yarn, then we worked a chain stitch and we worked a single crochet, then chain 1 and 3 single crochet all in the same space. Now in the next space, so here in this next space I'm going to place 3 single crochet stitches. So here in this space, let's work our first single crochet, second single crochet in the same space, and our third single crochet into the same space. Now we are just going to repeat the same pattern till we reach here at the magic circle. So you just have to work 3 single crochet in each of the next 3 spaces. So let's work 3 single crochets into this next space. This is 1, 2 and 3 in the same space. 3 single crochets into this next space. 1, 2 and 3. 3 single crochets into this next space. 1, 2 and 3. So this is how it looks. Now here I have reached at my magic circle, and in the magic circle I'm just going to place 1 single crochet stitch. So here in this next space or in the magic circle I'm placing 1 single crochet. Now I'm going to work 3 chain stitches. So 1, 2 and 3, and I'm going to work one slip stitch into the same space. So here in the same space or in the magic circle, we are going to work one slip stitch like this. Now chain 3 again. 1, 2, 3. We'll work one slip stitch into the same space or in the magic circle. We'll chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Slip stitch in the same space. So working one slip stitch again in the same space. And now again we are going to repeat the same pattern. So we'll chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Slip stitch into the same space or in the magic circle. Chain 3 again. 1, 2 and 3. Slip stitch into the same space. So this is how it looks. And now on this side I'm going to repeat the same pattern what we did here. So I'm just going to work 3 single crochets in each of the spaces till I reach here at the corner. So let's work. In the next space I'm going to work 3 single crochets. So this is 1, 2 and 3. 3 single crochets into this next space. 1, 2 and 3. 3 single crochets into this next space. 1, 2, 3. 3 single crochets into this next space. 1, 2 and 3. 3 single crochets into this next or the last space of this side of the triangle. This is 1, 2 and 3. Now here I'm going to chain 1 and I'm going to work 3 single crochets again in the same space. So we are kind of making this as a corner. So working 3 single crochets again in the same space. Now we are just going to work 3 single crochets in each of the spaces here till we reach here at the last space. So working 3 single crochet in this next space. This is 1, 2 and 3. 3 single crochets into this next space. 1, 2 and 3. 3 single crochets into this next space. 1, 2 and 3. 3 single crochet in this next space. 1, 2, 3. Now here I've reached at this last space, and in this last space we already started our work with 1 single crochet. So I'm just going to place 2 more single crochets into this last space. So this is our first single crochet in this last space and 1 more single crochet in the same space. So now including that first single crochet that we made, we'll have 3 single crochets here. So we are just going to work 1 slip stitch into this first single crochet. So I'm going to insert my hook into the first single crochet, grab the yarn, pull up a loop and pull it through to work a slip stitch. At this point we'll chain 1 and we'll cut off our yarn here, pull it through to secure it, this is how our tree looks like so far. Now let's work on to the trunk part. Now for the trunk part, I'm going to use this brown color yarn, and I'm going to attach this yarn between the second and the third puff stitch of round 5. So for that, we'll turn our work like this. So this is the second puff stitch of round 5. So here between these two, the second and the third puff stitch, in this space, I'm going to insert my hook like this. We'll place our yarn behind our work, grab the yarn, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull it through to attach it. And now I'm going to chain 3. So this is 1, 2 and 3. So these 3 chains will be considered as our first double crochet, and now I'm going to work 2 more double crochets into the same space for a total of 3 double crochet stitches. So let's work our second double crochet. We'll yarn over, insert our hook into the same space, grab the yarn, pull up a loop and work a double crochet. This is our second double crochet, and working 1 more double crochet into the same space. So here I'm working a third double crochet in the same space. So here we have worked 3 double crochets including the first 3 chains. Now we are going to work 3 double crochet into this next space between the third and the fourth puff stitch. So here in this space we are going to place 3 double crochets. So working my first double crochet in this space, working second double crochet in the same space, and working 1 more double crochet into the same space. So this is how it looks. Now we'll chain 1, turn our work, and I'm going to work 1 single crochet in each of the 6 stitches. So including this base stitch, I'm going to work 1 single crochet in the same stitch. This is 1, working 1 single crochet in each stitch across. So this is my second single crochet in the next stitch, third single crochet in the next stitch, fourth single crochet in the next stitch, fifth in the next stitch, and 1 last single crochet on top of these first 3 chains. Again, chain 1 and turn your work. And now I'm just going to work 1 slip stitch in each of the 6 stitches. So here 1 slip stitch into the base stitch and the first stitch like this, 1 slip stitch into the next stitch, this is the second stitch, slip stitch into this next stitch, this is 3, 4, 5 and 6. So this is how it looks. Chain 1 and we'll cut off our yarn here, pull it through to secure it, and you can go ahead and weave in the ends. So this completes our pattern here. I hope you like this pattern, and if you like this pattern, then please do consider subscribing to my channel. Like, share, comment, and let me know in the comment section below how your pattern turned out to be. Thank you so much for watching and stay blessed.